Now this chapter 3 that we're going through now, this is a chapter that deals with financial statement analysis. And the purpose of financial statement analysis is to convey information about the company, what's its strengths, what's its weaknesses, things of that nature. And you should understand and remember from the lecture videos now that there are really 5 kinds of ratios that we're going to talk about: liquidity, leverage, activity, profitability, and then investment-based ratios. And they all do a little something different. And when you analyze these ratios, you should remember what kind of ratio it is, what type of ratio it is. And so we're going to go through this problem here in just a second. And I want you to understand now that what this problem is about now is what I expect you to know for these ratios on exams and things like that. You need to know what type of ratio it is. Is it liquidity, leverage, activity, profitability, or investment-based? What's the formula for the ratio? Yes, indeed, you have to memorize the formulas. And 3, if I tell you the company average and the industry average, what does that mean? What's that indicating? Now, that last question now is what most students have trouble with. And something I think you should do now is that always remember what type of ratio you're looking at and sort of fold that into the analysis that you provide. Now, this particular problem reads this way. It says, use the financial statements below and on the next page for Fox Manufacturing Company for the year ended December 31, 2015, along with the industry average ratios below to do the following. And they want you to prepare and interpret a complete financial set of ratios for this company. And they actually show you the ratios on the bottom of this page that they want us to do. So now the first set of ratios we're going to talk about now, these are liquidity ratios. And remember, liquidity ratios measures the firm's ability to meet its short-term indebtedness. That's a liquidity ratio. And the 2 liquidity ratios they'd like us to look at in this problem is the current ratio and the quick ratio. Now the current ratio is defined as current assets divided by current liabilities. And in this case, they tell us that the industry average is 2.35. So the typical firm in the industry now has $2.35 in current assets for every $1 in current liabilities. To calculate this ratio for this company, you would go to the company's balance sheet and see that current assets are $138,300. Divide that by current liabilities of $75,000, and you get a current ratio for this company of 1.84. Now, with the current ratio, with all liquidity ratios, the higher the number, the better you like it. So all things being equal, we'd like this number to be greater. So if we were looking at this current ratio, we conclude that this firm, that based on the current ratio, this firm's ability to meet its short-term indebtedness is below that of the typical firm in the industry. Now the quick ratio, now this is also a liquidity ratio, and all liquidity ratios, again, measure the firm's ability to meet its short-term indebtedness. The formula for the quick ratio is current assets less inventory divided by current liabilities. Inventory is the least liquid current asset. That is, if you had to sell inventory at a fire sale, you're going to get very little for your money. So taking that out now leaves your most liquid current assets: cash, receivables, things like that. If you want to calculate the ratio for this company now, you take the current assets of $138,300, subtract inventories of $82,000, and then divide by current liabilities of $75,000. And for this company now, its quick ratio is 0.75. The industry average is 0.87. So relative to the typical firm in this industry, based on the quick ratio, this firm's ability to meet its short-term indebtedness is below that of the typical firm in the industry.